Hello world, welcome to the last postcast of the conference, the Keystone Symposia, Modeling Viral Infection and Immunity.
I'm Shingo Iwami, Kyushu University from Japan. I attended this Keystone Symposium. It is very nice and I had many great talks.
My name is Vitaly Ganusov. I am an associate professor at the Department of Microbiology and Mathematics at the University of Tennessee.
Rustom Antia. I'm a faculty member in biology at Emory.
I'm really happy to be in your company because I cited your papers during my PhD and now I can put faces on those names. So what was your highlight of the conference? What are the things that you really like about this conference?
I think I took two things that are, I think, different perhaps from a lot of meetings I've been to. Maybe we look on the longer scale. One is a really variety of approaches people use. It's not just ODE models, but a lot of statistical analysis, a lot of computational. Second is there is definitely a push, and I hope maybe I played a role in that, is for really considering alternative models, alternative approaches, comparing different things. And then third one is, I think it's really amazing that most of the talks I've heard really involve data. Right. There's very few, if there was any, maybe even no one, a talk that is just purely theoretical. Most of that is either involving experimental data in some ways or attempting to propose experiments, what to do, etc., which I think is really phenomenal progress. If you look at 10 years ago, there were probably very few talks about the data, involving data. So that's my highlight.
Yeah, for example, if I attend a conference in Japan, it's very hard to have this kind of great conference. Especially many people do the mathematical modeling, but it's just a theory. So people are in Japan almost do not use data, but here the many people try to quantify the data based on mechanistic model or phenomenological model. So this is a very nice. And also, so many people use a different kind of approach. And this meeting covers a very broad topics, include virus dynamics and immunology, and even for big data. So I think this is one of the best points of this conference.
Well, the Keystone conferences in general, one of the big advantages are that there's plenty of time for discussion. And so you meet with lots of people and you discuss lots of ideas. And the talks sort of serve two purposes. One is because the literature has become very large and is not really accessible anymore, just because there's so many papers being written. But it really ignites the discussion. So that's what I like about this conference.
Thank you very much for sharing your views. How about the interaction with young researchers during this conference?
That's exactly what I said. It's the interactions and the discussions that talks ignite between everyone, and sharing ideas at breakfast and over dinner and at posters. That's what I find so good about the Keystone conferences. So
can you say a few words to motivate young researchers in the field?
Important point is to know the person who are doing good research. So for example, if the researcher stay in Japan, it was very hard to directly meet and talk with people who doing excellent research. But this Keystone meeting provided an excellent opportunity for us to talk and to discuss and to show our research. And also for my case, it was very happy to meet many friends. And yeah, just to say hello is very important for me. So in that sense, I was very enjoying. I was enjoying this Keystone meeting.
I think one of the interesting developments that I'm noticing that I hope that will inspire young investigators is really practical applications of models. I think in some ways, we've heard talks where people are predicting which drug combinations will be more effective against, treatment, for example, HCV, or what's the schedule at which you maybe need to administer treatment, or what combinations of antibodies and anti-PD-1 molecules, etc., could control virus replication. So there is, I think, in previous times or years, 5, 10 years ago, there was a lot of discussions, but there was not maybe necessarily a visible path of using models to be in some way practical. And now I think with a lot of approaches, data analysis, identification perhaps of molecules that are involved in strong immune response or weak immune responses, I think we can make, at least to young investigators, maybe a little bit more convincing argument that something combining models and data, especially immunology, may have actually benefits to patient society. And I hope that that could be a good, inspiring moment.
Well, I sort of agree with both of you, and also that young investigators, the field is exciting. There's so much going on. I think so long as the older investigators don't screw up too much, I think young investigators will have a great time.
We're going to end on this note. Thank you very much for participating in the podcast, and enjoy.
Thank you.